Well, questions remain after two Israeli embassy staffers were killed outside a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. What we're learning about the investigation. And a mom is searching for the mystery hero who saved her daughter after a fall into water. The emotional and heroic story just ahead.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at noon.
Well, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with meteorologist Stephen Elmore, and we're talking about what looks like maybe not the most ideal Memorial Day weekend forecast.
Yeah.
But definitely could be worse than it is.
It definitely could be worse. Usually when we think about Memorial Day weekend, it's sunshine, it's warm outside, it's the unofficial start to summer. This weekend, lots of rain chances, lots of thunderstorm chances, unfortunately, in the forecast. Let's take a look at radar out there this afternoon. Again, we're getting a sneak peek at what maybe this weekend will probably look like as well. This morning was absolutely beautiful outside. It's been beautiful throughout most of the day today. Lots of sunshine, warmer out there as well. But now as we go into the afternoon to the evening, that cloud coverage is starting to filter in, and those rain chances coming in right behind it as well. I've already seen a few scattered showers across parts of LaFleur County, but really those rain chances have held off for the most part. I think really what you can expect the rest of the day today is definitely an increase in that cloud coverage, but also every once in a while we'll be dealing with those spotty rain chances really throughout the rest of the afternoon and through the evening hours. Now those rain chances only pick up as we go throughout the weekend, even into your Memorial Day on Monday. So yesterday we got some new information to change gears real quickly of those tornadoes that we had on Monday. The new information that we want to pass along to you is that now we have 4 additional EF1 tornadoes. They continued their surveys into eastern Oklahoma and parts of western Arkansas as well. The new data now shows that Gore, parts of Bunch there in Adair County, Shady Point there in LaFleur County, and Bacola working into Fort Chaffee, all were EF1 tornadoes with wind speeds anywhere from 100 up to 110 miles per hour. Now, I will tell you, the National Weather Service out of Tulsa has said that additional survey teams are going out once again today. So we may see this number of 9 continue to climb before the end of the week. Current temperatures out there right now, not too bad, mid to upper 70s, low 80s as well. But now that that cloud coverage is starting to filter in, and now that those rain chances are coming with it, more than likely, this is pretty close to what our daytime highs will be. Futurecast looks like this the rest of the day today. Here's a look at 4 p.m. Maybe dealing with some of those scattered showers across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. That's going to continue throughout the evening hours. Not everybody is going to see these rain chances. They're going to be very scattered in nature. But by the time we get to our Saturday, and especially on Sunday, we're going to have a really good chance of seeing more of that rainfall, and we could have some of those flooding concerns this weekend. We'll talk about that in detail coming up in just a bit.
Thanks, Stephen. Well, a small plane crashed into a San Diego neighborhood early this morning in an area that's all military housing. Here's a look at some of that destruction that was left behind. You can see burned out cars, collapsed roofs. Officials say multiple homes caught fire along with numerous vehicles when the Cessna 550 went down, dumping jet fuel everywhere. The fire department reported foggy weather at the time of the crash.
But no one was transported from the scene from any of the housing units. All the fatalities right now look to be that they're from the plane. We're working with the FAA right now to find out how many actual people were registered on that plane.
Officials say the aircraft was a private plane registered out of the Midwest. The National Transportation Safety Board will lead the investigation into the crash. And a suspect is in custody following the killing of 2 Israeli embassy employees outside of the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. last night. Police and witnesses say the suspected gunman shouted "Free Palestine" as he was taken into custody. Natalie Brand reports.
The Israeli Foreign Ministry identified the victims as Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, embassy staff workers in Washington who were set to be engaged.
The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem.
The shooting attack happened last night as they left an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C., which attendees say included a discussion about helping get aid into Gaza.
Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents.
The attack happened in a high-security area just across the street from an FBI field office and less than a mile from the U.S. Capitol. Police identified the suspect, who is now in custody, as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez from Chicago. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News this is being investigated as a hate crime.
We were comforting him because we thought that he was just somebody out in the street looking for a safe place to stay.
Katie Kalisher recorded the video of the suspect's arrest. She says he entered the museum after the shooting.
He reaches into his bag and he pulls out a keffiyeh and he says, I did it for Gaza.
President Trump posted on social media, hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. Israel's prime minister says it will strengthen security arrangements at Israeli missions around the world in light of the attack. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee is currently the U.S. ambassador to Israel, and he's speaking out about the shooting. He posted a statement on X overnight, calling it a horrific act of terror. The House of Representatives narrowly passed President Donald Trump's budget bill after an overnight session on Capitol Hill. The bill would make the 2017 tax cuts permanent and includes additional funding for border security, deportations, and defense, along with spending cuts to entitlement programs. Democrats tried to stall the process, suggesting new amendments and giving speeches, but they didn't have enough votes to stop the bill outright. The bill now goes to the Senate, where some Republicans have already voiced opposition. Congressional leaders say they want the legislation on the president's desk by the 4th of July. And Congressman Steve Womack voted to advance the bill and released a statement just this morning saying, in part, passing the measure will help protect families from higher taxes and help them to build better lives for themselves and their loved ones. The Pentagon has accepted a $400 million Boeing 747 from Qatar, set to be retrofitted for use as a temporary Air Force One. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth signed off, saying it follows all federal protocols. The Trump administration calls it a gift to taxpayers, but critics in Congress are raising ethics concerns, including possible violations of the Constitution. The Air Force says full security and mission standards will be met before the jet ever flies the president. Well, continuing coverage here at home in Greenland, the American Red Cross is on the ground helping storm victims after this week's EF2 tornado there. Volunteers are working street by street, helping people clean up in the hardest hit areas. They're also giving relief supplies like tarps, water, and blankets, while others are surveying the damage and seeing what the immediate needs are.
We're going to continue calling people and stopping by people's houses and just assessing damage. After that, then we'll start making phone calls and checking to see if people need their medications replaced, because sometimes that gets lost in the disaster.
Anyone affected by this week's tornado outbreak can reach out to the Red Cross at the number right there at the bottom of your screen, 1-800-RED-CROSS. You can also reach out through the American Red Cross website. We're getting a better look at the storm damage in LaFleur County. Emergency crews say the worst hit area is a 2-mile stretch around Shady Point, Oklahoma. Remarkably, no injuries have been reported, but crews say there have been multiple water rescues and significant property damage. 2 families are currently displaced. The Hathaway family described sheltering in place during the storm.
Said, grab your things, go to the car immediately. We're driving down to Poto, and I mean, we're just getting hit by the wind, and I'm thinking, I hope I'm not driving more into the teeth of this thing.
Officials have sent preliminary damage reports to the state to jumpstart financial recovery. Well, ahead of the Memorial Day weekend, some swim areas at Beaver Lake are now closed. High water and debris made conditions too dangerous. Recent storms have pushed Beaver Lake near flood stage, backing water into campgrounds and parking lots. Hickory Creek, War Eagle, and Horseshoe Bend swim beaches are shut down due to floating logs and storm debris.
They'll be closed for quite some time. It's going to take a while for water levels to come down. Plus, we've got rain in the forecast. But as water begins to recede, we can get things cleaned up. Those beaches will reopen.
Boaters are still allowed on the water, but officials urge safety. Well, a mother is searching for the man who saved her daughter's life after a terrifying fall at Tanyard Creek in Bella Vista. 3-year-old Melody was swept over a 30-foot waterfall Tuesday. A stranger jumped in and pulled her to safety, and now her mom says she's counting her blessings and hoping to find the man who made the rescue. Her social media post in a local Facebook group has gone viral.
I think yesterday was completely on God. When I couldn't get to the water, I had nobody to call on but God. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. My faith always been strong, but he was right there.
Melody walked away without any serious injuries, and she's turning 4 this Sunday. Well, Amber Waterman, the woman accused of kidnapping and killing Ashley Bush and her unborn baby, claims her constitutional rights were violated during the investigation. Her lawyers have filed a motion to suppress statements and evidence, alleging investigators entered her home without a warrant and questioned her without informing her of her rights. The court has yet to rule on that motion. Waterman's next hearing is scheduled for July 7th. And in other news, Walmart says it plans to eliminate roles at its corporate office and global technology team as part of a push to simplify its operations. The Bentonville-based company announced that less than 1,500 people will be affected. In a letter, leaders say that the move is part of, quote, building for the future. The plan will impact teams in global technology operations, e-commerce, fulfillment in U.S. stores, and the advertising business Walmart Connect. Walmart added it was working closely with the associates who are affected. Well, millions of dollars in funding has been announced for the governor of Arkansas's statewide water infrastructure initiative. The Natural Resources Commission approved an additional $13 million that will go toward improving water mains, replacing meters, and building storage tanks. It's estimated those improvements will impact more than 42,000 Arkansans. In a statement, Governor Sanders said Arkansans rely on local water utilities for consistent and safe water, which is why her office is aiming to improve the water resources in the state.